Screw the countdown. We're in the
Wow.
live.
Okay.
That's
Hey,
okay.
everybody.
Welcome,
Welcome
folks.
to,
Cannabis
to
Radio
Cannabis
Live.
Radio Live.
Welcome.
I think we just tripped right into that, right, George?
No. That was on purpose. I'm sure of that.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. It is Tuesday, and you are watching and listening to Cannabis Radio Live. I want to thank you for joining us today. Of course, joining me as always is my co-host, my compadre, my guy in the right seat. Maybe I'm in the left. I don't know. Brasco on the
But then again,
radio.
I'm
What's going on, buddy?
left-handed. So the
Do
whole thing.
what?
Look, can we just jump into something real quick before
Go
we got
ahead.
on?
Go ahead.
I know this is supposed to be a big deal. Snoop Dogg. All right. That Super Bowl
Are we going to
halftime
talk about
show
him right
happened.
now?
Yes. Yes. Look,
Okay.
it was a good show, by the way. I thought everybody came out there. Nobody fumbled around. And obviously, now people are going to start listening to Dre and Snoop Dogg and Mary J. Blige records all over again. They're going to start filling up their playlists. That's great.
Well, the funny thing is,
But
right? Like
yeah,
we grew up on all that, right? Like
of course.
that was, I mean, all these millennials, maybe they had to choke that down, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
I used to DJ all that music back in the day. I had all the
Yeah.
records and the CDs. I had them all. So, but people still, I mean, it's still kind of timeless. And that's the problem where, like, you look at what hip hop looks like today and the mumble rapping, which, of course, like a Snoop Dogg has always complained about, like, and some of it's just not that good. And I don't think I'm trying to act like I'm older. It's just not. There are some good rappers out there, but not to the level of this. It's like, they came from a different heyday. And you know what Snoop Dogg used to do back then? That's what he does now. He lights one up before he gets on stage. And the New York Post wants to go in and talk about, oh, he does it before. You know what kind of crowd he's going after? The sanctimonious religious types that are like, oh my God, he smoked. It's like reefer
You know
madness.
what?
Can we
But
stop
this is who
this?
he is. This is absolutely who he is. First off, okay, I've seen the video. I've seen the video a couple of times. And if you're paying attention, this is up in the coaches area, right? They
Yeah.
had someone up there, they had a feed that was showing Snoop on one of those monitors inside that coaches area. And so somebody with their cell phone just shot, what they were watching Snoop do, which was smoke a doobie backstage.
Right.
Okay, first and foremost, this is what Snoop is known for, right? Nobody can deny that. He does this. This is who he is, right? He has been known to smoke a doobie in the White House. They're going to make an issue of him smoking a doobie in California where it is recreationally legal. The New York Post, in my opinion, they're chasing something that just isn't. It's not a story, right? It's really not. I'm sure
No.
Snoop's,
You know what's funny too? I remember watching what was a documentary on Soul Train, and Snoop Dogg talking about how he was going on there for the first time. The show that Don Cornelius built is like he smoked one before he got on stage too in the green room. It's what he does. Monumental events for him. He's going to do that. That's like it's ceremonial. That's all it is.
I mean, let's also call it what it is. This is also an artist that likes to smoke before he gets on stage. That was his warm-up routine. Deal
And
with it, New
Dr.
York
Dina probably
Post.
supplied him before he got on stage anyway, for all we know.
The fact that they caught that private moment and then, people want to run with that. I mean, it's silly because it's not like he was doing something out of character. If they caught him back there doing a line of coke, okay, great. That's headlines.
Right.
But he's doing something that was perfectly legal, right? Like I saw this one article that said, oh my God, next thing you know, they're going to be calling out, all the drinkers in the audience because they're drinking alcohol and eating hot dogs.
You know what? It's like the New York Post is trying to play their best TMZ impression. That's all it is. If TMZ showed this story, they would go boom, boom, boom. And they would show him, oh, look, he's smoking, boom, 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 and move on. That's all they're going to do. It doesn't matter.
I know. By the way, if you're watching this, if you're tuned in, feel free wherever you are. If you want to drop in some comments, feel free. If you got questions, come on. You got, you think we're full of crap? We want to hear about it.
We'd love for you to speak up. Please.
Exactly. So George, I truly think that they're chasing something. I did see that somebody said they thought that this was truly something racist, right, for them to do, because they could have easily have talked about how successful the halftime show was, right, in the headlines, because the story
Yeah.
itself didn't completely focus on Snoop smoking backstage, right? It
No.
was, hey, this is what Snoop was doing. Oh, hey, by the way, the rest of the show had these artists. Oh, and here's a synopsis of the game, right? But the headline was all about Snoop smoking, right? Stupid,
Darren, this is
stupid.
why I hate reading the news. Like, if just to find news, and I got to block through that kind of crap right there, and like skip all that. Like, I didn't really pay attention to it until somebody brought it up before we came on, because I've got better things to worry about than, oh, Snoop Dogg's been doing something he's done for like what 40 something years of his life.
True.
Yeah,
True.
whatever.
Now, I mean, before we transition, I don't want to run away from the interesting thing. This is definitely not in our little rundown, but I'm going to throw this up here. The Did you see the commercial with Willie Nelson?
Yeah.
The Skechers commercial with Willie Nelson. So, ironically, we all know he was talking about legalize weed.
Yes.
But you can't say that during the Super Bowl.
Right.
And so I want to give props to Skechers for doing that commercial, because
Mhm.
it gave them the ability to spend the money first on that ad. Secondly, the way it was postured, the NFL couldn't say no, right?
Right.
The NFL couldn't say
Right.
no. Legalize Skechers, because God, if you're going to legalize comfort, get it done,
Can
right?
I also shout out the Willie's PR people? Elaine, I'm talking to you. Can we please bring him on Cannabis Radio? We've been asking long enough. Please. We want to talk to him. We love him.
Bring on
Let him
Willie.
come on Cannabis Radio. Okay?
Absolutely.
Please.
Okay, George, what do we got? What's up next?
So in the news, a few things that caught my mind. All right. So Bob Hoban, we've had him on as a guest on various shows.
Yep,
And he
Hoban
mentioned
Law.
how the story came out, and this actually just happened earlier this morning. We get the story from Forbes that Apple secretly joined Amazon in advancing commercial cannabis reform. So, yeah, they're
Oh,
joining the
this is
ranks of
huge.
Amazon where they're looking for federal reform. They want to get into the cannabis business.
Now, the thing that you know you have to look at is all the different companies out there that have just blocked cannabis in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And God bless, the fact that we're live streaming this, and maybe Facebook will, not clip it. That's the always a $50,000 question, right? Is Twitter, is Facebook, is YouTube going to clip us, because we're talking about the plant, something
Yeah.
that's legal with a law around it in 35 states, and these social media companies still have an issue with it. What Apple did, Apple went and said, if you're licensed under state law, in any state that has a law, to sell or deliver cannabis products, well, guess what? If you have an app, you can now submit it to the store, and this way, anybody that's using Apple can download those apps now, right? They
Yeah.
it's not a standalone thing anymore, and so this is beautiful. So Apple did that without big fanfare, without any noise about it. Ironically, um, you know, some of the others, the NFL and what have you, like they are being loud, if you will, when they make a move about it. So kudos to Apple for just
Yeah.
making a policy change and not necessarily going out there and tooting their horn. We'll do that for you. So thanks, Apple. We appreciate
Doing a little old workaround right there. That's good stuff.
it. Exactly.
Other
We'll
thing
take
is,
it.
oh, go ahead.
No, I said we'll take that. We'll take it.
Absolutely. IRS official actually made a story in Marijuana Moment, talked about it, that medical marijuana is not tax deductible. So when you're getting your taxes done, you can't take your visits to the MMTCs and put it down as a write off.
Now, so if anybody is watching this or listening right now from California, uh, who has been a medical patient, feel free to chime in on this. Uh,
Yep.
and don't take this as the gospel, but I'm like 80% sure that in California, medically, what you spend on your cannabis, you can write off on your state taxes.
Oh. And so, like, it was a question on a C-SPAN show that talked about it, and they asked, "Is there a way for me to deduct cannabis purchases on my turbo tax?" That's funny. Come on,
Well,
I
okay,
want that in there.
it's a valid question,
It is
and you
good.
know what? We won't laugh at the audience, but maybe we will a little bit. A day will come. A day will
Yeah.
come, and maybe you'll be able to write it off, right? Again, I think California had the right idea. Whether or not other states follow as they roll, their laws. Again, we've seen states that the recreational laws end up crushing the medical. So who knows where this is going to shake out in the next few years? But something to keep your eye on. Always looking for a good write off.
Yeah. A little Amy Winehouse karaoke right here. Our day will come, and we'll have everything. Never mind.
People
Anyways,
are dropping off one by one right now.
thank you. Pre-employment cannabis testing. A national law review put a story out and talked about, do companies need to go ahead and, before you go and get hired on, do they need to be drug tested for cannabis or not? Is it worth it still?
Bullshit. Excuse me. Sorry.
And so they're
No, do
talking about
not.
there are certain states and cities that are trying to enact laws in place that will be banning testing for cannabis. New York prohibits all employers right now for testing for THC. Philadelphia enacted a law for 2022, the same thing.
Yep.
Nevada's got the same thing. So if you're working in Vegas, you're working at casinos, you don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
So you're seeing a little change to it.
Look, honestly, this is an archaic law with respect to testing, testing people for cannabis use, especially in states where it's recreational. Like, I'm sorry. Again, I'll go back to the argument. Are we testing people for alcohol? Are we testing them for opiate? Right? Like,
Right.
please, enough with this. We got to
Yeah,
smarten
we're
up.
enough money to the lab cores and Quest Diagnostics to get free money off of the drug testing for this kind of crap.
Yeah. Well,
It's
enough of
it's the
that.
only people making money off it. They care about this. That's why.
Right. Is the testing labs, of course.
Okay. The other thing I saw was there was this psychiatric article investigating the skunk smell and other emissions caused by cannabis production. University of British Columbia put this together. So what causes the skunky odor emitted by cannabis production facilities, and what do the emissions mean for air quality? So the Greenpeace crowd wants to say, well, there's something wrong with the smoke that's coming out of these cannabis facilities. I don't know what they're talking about. What smoke's coming out of there? What, it's not like
Okay, so
we're
it's
burning sugar cane or something like that.
so it's not smoke. I don't know what people are talking about. Smoke does not come out of cannabis growing facilities. I happen to know this. I would tell you what they're likely talking about is just the smell, right? And the smell can hit you in the face like like you cut it in the air,
Right.
right? It is thick. And so there's a lot of cultivations do what they can, to help with that, you know, with some type of filter and remediating in the air, because it is bad. It is truly bad.
Yeah.
So I think at some point though, guys that put up cultivations and what have you, they you shouldn't do this right dead in the middle of a community. Brandy and I, we have a stake in a cultivation. It literally sits 45 minutes, depending upon traffic, to an hour south of Phoenix, and probably 40 minutes. It's about halfway between Tucson, right? Out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because then people, you're not getting complaints, about smell. Maybe it's other industrial park people, but you know, the smell can be an issue. What, George? Right down here, uh, Curaleaf had an
Yeah.
issue right off I'm not sure which freeway it was, but you could see, cars passing by, and protesters had mounted signs right there by their fence, because the smell is it was pretty strong.
Yeah.
And they tried to get with Cureleaf about it, and I'm not sure ultimately where that went. I like the guys at Cureleaf, not a diss against Cureleaf, just
Oh
merely
no.
an example. But it happens, right? And it's just all about location. But it does happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's greenhouse or like just some or like like if they talk about in the story about
Listen,
how livestock
even
has
if
their
it's
own
in a
issues where
greenhouse, if
if
it's
cows or chickens are farting or something like that, and that's like an issue or
oh my
something like
god, yeah, the cows farting thing. I mean, people need a life. They need a life. They need to quit worrying about crap like this. I understand it if your kids can't go outside and play or ride their bikes because it is, it's nothing but the aroma of weed hitting you in the face. But it's not like that everywhere, right?
can I just
So
take one little quote from the story that I just think is
please.
hilarious? To date, cannabis smell has been linked to two classes of chemicals that are terpenes and volatile sulfurous compounds, which are volatile organic compounds. However, we do not really know which type contributes more to the odors, and a better understanding would help odorous emissions be handled more effectively. So it's like I can imagine these students and these professors are like they're trying to smell the cannabis, and they're having to go through like, okay, how does it smell towards crap? Or how does it smell towards this? Like they have to like smell testing all this right here to make their determinations.
Well, I mean, listen,
Their
they're they're
findings.
they're not right about the terpenoid profiles and whatever like that. That is what makes it all stand out in your
Yeah.
nostrils. And so you you know, look when they make vape carts, right, right here, ta-da! Yeah, get out of focus here. So the little liquid right in there, right? That's distillate, right? When they
Yep.
extract that, and this is THC distillate. So when they extract this, right, you get this fluid, right? That's just this little liquid in there. It does not smell like cannabis. They go and take the flavors and what have you, and they put that back in with the terpenes. And so it depends. You're going to get smells when you're growing it, and then when you're consuming it. So either way, it's you got to deal with it. I would say these, right? Like you're not smelling anything
Right.
when somebody is consuming this. But look, people have gone through this with cigarettes. I think when our society kind of comes to an agreement on consumption, where everybody can be okay with consumption, in one way, shape, form, or fashion, great, we move forward. But until then, people are going to use the smells
Right.
as an argument. I'm a non-cigarette smoker. Can't stand the smell.
Right.
I use it as an argument. Can you please take that outside? It's the same thing. It's no difference with cannabis.
But no, the article was meant to be basically a hit piece to say, oh, well, we need to start controlling environmental variables. We need to start getting inside the grows. We need more information. So, yeah, charge more to go ahead and more compliance and create issues where it's like these triggered, coddled students are in here. "Oh, we need to go and take care of this problem. We're easily offended. This is a microaggression." That's what it is. Go find a safe space, okay? You bunch of entitled entitled Gen Z millennials, okay?
Whiners.
Seriously. Thank you.
True that.
All right, let's do it. Let's get into the feature, the spotlight, if you will.
Our
Um,
feature.
yeah, there was an op-ed that came out, Marijuana Moment. I liked it. It just gives me a chance to thump away at corporate because when these big companies come in, we can talk all about, diversity, equity, inclusion. We could talk about where we want companies to have second opportunity zones and second chances, and people that have been disenfranchised to have an opportunity to be in the business and grow within. But then you have monopolies out there. So, like in the story here, They say instead of relying on profiteers, we can stick with the roots of our movement. This is the activist message that's being put in this story. The moment calls for a united effort to preemptively crack down on national cannabis monopolies instead of further entrenching oligopoly like markets where consumers complain of high prices. We can put consumers, patients, workers, and small businesses first. We don't need to start from scratch. Regulation may be relatively new, but itself, the regulation isn't. Neither are antitrust laws that lead to more competition, better wages, and innovation. When regulators have actively enforced the laws, like in oil and railroads, they've been able to rein in corporate excesses. They think the same thing needs to happen here with cannabis to break down, like they're going to like want to break down the big companies. But there's kind of a reason for it.
Yeah, listen. So this is the argument today about monopolies, right? Like, the whole cannabis community got up in arms when big business started to come in and come and fund initiatives and what have you. They didn't want big business in it, right? This was the old hippie mom and pop, home baked kind of grassroots movement that for since when the mid to late 30s, 40s, nothing has moved forward with respect to policy. Nothing. The free the weed movement, uh, peace, brother, none of that shit did it. None of it did it. What did it was big business.
Yep.
And big business enabled policies to get changed so that people can have access and not go to jail. So I you know, I, I, I I sit on the fence because I do understand the need for mom and pop to be in this business,
Right.
right? They should be, but Jesus God, the constant arguments about the money coming to money has made it happen. So I guess it just kind of I
It's a
you
love hate
know
relationship because honestly,
it,
we
it, it
need
is a
the
love hate
corporate in,
relationship.
but we don't want to. We don't want them to shut everybody else out. I put a story into what we were talking about because there was a Rutgers University. They have a Center of
Yeah.
Alcohol and Substance Use Studies. This was fascinating because they put out a research paper and they described there were 6 MSOs. I'm not going to mention them all, but they're very familiar. That they have a combined market cap of more than $10 billion. They're using academic research for their marketing strategies. So,
Yep.
yeah, so you want to get research done to prove that what you're selling is compliant. It's compliant. It's good. It's safe. It's effective. So they conclude that medical cannabis companies use associations with academia and academic research, implying that products are safe and effective before claims are confirmed. And they're saying in a story here that it could mislead patients, policymakers, and the public into believing unconfirmed claims. Okay, so what are you, the media?
Excuse me.
Stop it.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is absurd. First off, right? I would like to applaud these companies. I want to
Yeah,
applaud them, right? Because here's the deal. They're not allowed to go market cannabis. You can't do it. Um, one way that you market isn't traditional marketing, right? It's education. It
yeah,
truly is. It is absolutely educate. This is what cannabis radio is.
right.
We create content that educates people. When you consider the fact that it is illegal for these companies to go out and market like a traditional company does, and if you refer to some of these other stories earlier in this stream, where all the big social media giants, keep these companies from being able to market, what's left, right? From a marketing perspective, the honest, responsible thing to educate the consumer, right?
Yeah,
Not sling ads at them, but to educate them. Not necessarily anecdotally, because everybody has said for how many years anecdotal evidence doesn't have blah, blah, blah. Okay, then. So what are you going to use? You're
Right.
going to use qualitative and quantitative information derived from studies so that you can talk about the product that's on your shelves in a way that educates a consumer, that doesn't necessarily sit there and sell them, but it teaches them about the plant, particularly from the study's perspective. So I don't have a problem with it. Again, I kind of feel like that's, maybe Rutgers doing their own hit piece.
It is a hit piece. I mean, why would they put that at the end of saying that the practice may mislead? So you're going to just basically shut down the other other schools like you that are doing the right thing and at least working on this. And look, these companies are willing to put their money where their mouth is. They're doing it's a marketing ploy for them, so it's a necessary investment. But it's a necessary investment because how else are you going to get this information to all these other people? And I'm sorry, I'm going to trust academia over some media source that says something to me these days. I don't trust what they say at
Right,
all.
right, right. Yeah.
You could
You know
go
what?
you could go buy off some kind of research or whatever that can say whatever they want about, some story, but I'm not gonna listen to it. I don't need to. Like it's
Well,
I'd rather listen to the experts. They are experts here. Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? Isn't that what we learned to do in the
well, you're
pandemic?
supposed to. Yeah, you're supposed to. And look, ultimately, you're not going to get away from this type of practice because uh, it's not an irresponsible thing to take information garnered from scientific research and to provide that to someone to make an educated decision.
Yep.
Color me if I'm wrong here. I just, kind of feel like that should be the way it works, right? If we have the information, we can make that educated decision. Without the information, we're in a vacuum. So, again, kudos to the MSOs for keeping it real.
Exactly. Well, we're only got a few minutes left.
Yep.
Uh, we should go ahead and let people know what we're doing at Cannabis Radio and what shows are up on the website that you want to go and take a look at and listen to for yourself. And I believe we should let
What is
somebody
it?
on.
We've got
Yeah,
Tito Ortiz.
the Huntington Beach bad boy, who also was the former mayor pro tempore of Huntington Beach. Let me just put it like this: him and Latham went on, and they had a great talk. But I will say this: Tito Ortiz is not afraid to say that he is a loyal Trump supporter. He definitely is conservative.
Interesting.
He really is politically. He's conservative minded,
Yep.
family minded, and he's not afraid to say it. And he definitely did not hold anything back in the interview.
Interesting.
Like that. So there's one
So,
side of the spectrum. The other
yep.
side is diversity, equity, inclusion with Mike Lamuto, NCI's cannabis industry voice,
There we go.
which they have their own committee, and Mike runs that committee, and they talk about some of the things they're doing to help further the cause.
And by the way, just another side note, a big congratulations to Latham Woodward, host
Yes.
of Dazed and Infused. That Tito Ortiz episode will be his 100th episode with Cannabis Radio. So big congratulations there. That's a big mile marker to hit. So we appreciate Latham and all the amazing work he's done on Dazed and Infused. And folks, if you enjoy Cannabis Radio, make sure that you like your favorite show, follow your favorite show host, share some of the great favorite content that they produce. Um, Let the world know that you enjoy it. What's up, Steven Wisniewski, David Steven Wisniewski, Big
Howdy.
Dave? What's going on, buddy? So make sure that you share that with any of your friends and invite them to come back every Tuesday, 3 o'clock Eastern. Right, Brasco?
Yeah. Hey, you can always go and cut some of the fodder between us where we're kind of just, on our soapboxes. You can jump on yours. There you
Happy to
go.
do that. Folks, that's going to do it for another Cannabis Radio Live right here, wherever you're watching. If you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Facebook, make sure that you follow that. Press that little notification thing so that you get notified every time that we go live. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week right here for another Cannabis Radio Live. See you later, George.
See it.